Hello and welcome to this side note video. I'm reading from the chapter The Idea of Freedom, and I'm reading a particular sentence which, when I first understood this book, the sentence blew my mind. But then when I got another translation of the book, I discovered that the sentence translated one particular word, and quite, in my opinion, quite a crucial word, differently. I'll get to that in a second. Let's first read the sentence. Every existing thing has its inborn concept, the law of its being and doing. But in external objects, this concept is indivisibly bound up with the percept and separated from it only within our mental organization. So, what's he talking about here? Let's quickly recap. Remember the analogy he gave of the stone being thrown. When you throw a stone through the air and one perceives it moving through the air, one then connects a particular concept of a line, a mathematical line, which happens to be the parabola, to the percept of the stone moving through the air. But one had to think about the percept in order to come up with the concept, in order to fit to the percept the concept of a parabola. Steiner's argument is that the concept of a parabola existed all along, indivisibly bound up with that percept. And that concept and percept were separated only by our mental organization, only for our perception they appear apart. So that's why he says, in external objects, this concept is indivisibly bound up with the percept and is separated from it only within our mental organization. However, in man, concept and percept are at first actually separated to be just as actually united by him. So, remember, the way Steiner defines reality is he says reality, the reality of a thing, consists of a percept and a concept. If one has only a percept, it's not reality. If one has only a concept, it's not reality. Reality is only the combination of the two. And that for every real thing, there's a concept and a percept. And these two sides are indivisibly bound up and separated only for our perception. That is only in our mental organization. However, he's just said, in the human being, for the concept of the free human being and the percept of a free human being, they aren't together from the start, needing only to be reunited by knowledge after we've perceived the human being. They are actually separated, to be just as actually united by the human individual. Concept and percept coincide only if man himself makes them coincide. So, when we then read in the Hornley edition, and it's not only Hornley's translation that reads differently, it's also, I believe, Poppelbaum is how you pronounce his name, who also translated the later edition, also translates the word united as reunited. So we read, in human beings, concept and percept are at first actually separated to be just as actually reunited by them. Wait a minute. If they're reunited, that means that they were once upon a time together, then they were separated, and then they were reunited. But surely for Steiner's articulation of what freedom is, it cannot be predetermined from the start to only be reunited by the human being. They have to be, as he says, actually separated to be just as actually united. Well, let's read the original German to get to the bottom of this. Beim Menschen selbst ist Begriff und Wahrnehmung zunächst tatsächlich getrennt, von ihm ebenso tatsächlich vereinigt zu werden. Tatsächlich vereinigt zu werden. Vereinigt is the key word, and it means in English, united. Reunited in German is wiedervereinigt. And by the way, I've checked this with a professional German to English translator, so this goes beyond my limited knowledge of the German language. Okay, you might object, fine, Amma, you're just splitting hairs, so what? Well, I happen to think that there's a big difference between saying that the free human being as a concept and an object existed united from the start of creation to be only reunited by knowledge. To me, that completely contradicts the articulation of freedom. But this word reunited is sort of, it permeates philosophy and many spiritual traditions. So the idea is that our individual ego, our individual self, our experience of separation is only apparent. And when we attain to enlightenment, we become reunited with the all-one being that is existence. From Steiner's perspective, he's going to say, yeah, that's true in a sense, but in reuniting ourselves with the all-one being, we lose our sense of self and our sense of egohood, our sense of self-awareness. And with that, we lose the opportunity for freedom. Now, many philosophies and many spiritual traditions all give the impression, or their doctrines are, that freedom is ultimately an illusion. This philosophy, this spiritual philosophy, is not one of those. Steiner is saying, no, freedom is becoming a reality, because he's talking about the metamorphosis of the one divine world being, metamorphosing into freedom through the reality of the individual human being. And so this term, reunited or united, is absolutely crucial to this concept. Because if freedom consisted in something pre-made by the divine one, all-divine creator, then it cannot be genuine in the individual human being. For it to be genuine in the individual human being has to bring it forth out of his or her own activity. Or in other words, as Steiner puts it in Goethe's worldview, to see something bringing forth itself is to see freedom. In observing his thinking, man sees into world happening. Here he does not have to search after an idea of this happening, for this happening is the idea itself. What one otherwise experiences as the unity of what is looked at and the ideas, that is, the unity of percept and concept, is here, that is, with thinking, the experiencing of the spirituality of the world of ideas become visible. The person who beholds this self-sustaining activity feels freedom. So I think I'll leave it on. I'd like to end on that note. I don't know if any of this makes sense, but this is my understanding of the book, and this is why I felt first of all, this is why that particular sentence, when I first understood the book, blew my mind. And secondly, why, when I read other translations, I noticed an anomaly in the translations, which to me was very troublesome. Anyway, for what it's worth, I hope that was interesting. Please leave your feedback and comment. It's always helpful for me, and I enjoy it. So thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.